each other and fall deeper in love, really. You know, when we learn each other's apology languages, when we learn each other's love languages, when we learn each other's anger languages.
Oh, wait, there's an anger language?
What do you do when you're angry? How well do you process it? That kind of thing. What are your, signs and symptoms of being angry, and how does one help you decompress from that? And there's lots of things that go into stuff like that. There's all of these tools out here, like the 5 love languages tool that we've made 2 podcasts out of it, and we use it, quite a bit. So,
and a lot of people use it more than they actually realize they do.
It's interesting when people talk about, like what Jay said, an apology without change behavior. If you look down the list at all 5 of these, accepting responsibility, that usually leads to change in behavior, because you acknowledge what you did, and it should lead into change behavior. Expressing regret. Well, if you honestly regret your behavior, you're going to change it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Making restitution. You're literally trying to repair the damage that your behavior caused, and this is a natural tool to not do it again.
Requesting forgiveness.
Genuinely, requesting forgiveness. If you're requesting forgiveness, it's with the expectation that you won't do that again. Genuine repentance. Well, obviously, if you're actually repentant, you're not going to do this anymore. So it all leads to changed behavior. And that's just a note to everybody out there who you find yourself in a toxic relationship, or you're in denial about it, and you're saying, oh, but they were so sorry. Oh, but they accepted responsibility. Oh, but they expressed regret. Oh, but look at how they made up for it. Oh, look at how they repented. They asked me for forgiveness, and I forgave them, so I should forget about it.
Yep.
Until they do it again.
You should.
And again. And again.
Yeah. It's not bringing up old shit, as many narcissists like to throw out there. It's not bringing up old shit if you're establishing a pattern of continued behavior. Those apologies, unfortunately, and I have to be the one bearing the bad news, are useless.
Yeah. So we're talking about kind of a serious subject here. If you find yourself in a toxic relationship, if you find yourself in an abusive relationship, if you find yourself in a relationship that is just not healthy mentally or physically for you, please find a way to get out. Because trust me, if you're a female, if you're a male, if you're non-binary, and regardless of anything, you can still be in a toxic relationship. You can still be in an abusive relationship. Just please get out, get help, find a way, rely on your friends, let them know what's going on. Because
also listen to them.
Yes. If your friends are, if every friend you have, and let's just say, let me give you an example. If I have a friend, she's been a friend of mine for 35 years. Like seriously, her second year of kindergarten, we made friends. Like we've been friends since then. Her second year of kindergarten. And she even says, like, if I wouldn't have learned the B's from the D's, then, we wouldn't have met and we wouldn't have been friends this long. And when I was in a toxic relationship, she was the first one to say, what the fuck are you doing? Like, look at the situation going on. And that was in high school. And it took Jay coming into my life to make me realize that. However, fast forward many years, and it happens again. And she's the first one to call it out. She's like, look, I thought you were done with crazy women. Apparently not. So it was hard. It was really hard. The thing was I was trying to get better. I was trying to be in a better headspace. And I couldn't do that because I had somebody apologizing to me for something they really weren't sorry for. And not really, apologizing. Like I said, it was an empty apology. And at the same time, what happened was me and my ex were kind of setting each other off. I would, have a bad day, then she would feed off of that energy. Or she would have a bad day, and I would feed off that energy, and it would just kind of roll into a ball of chaos, and it sucked for everybody around.
They ping-ponged off of each other.
Exactly, and it was bad. So I broke up with her for me to get mentally healthier. And so that's kind of where you realize, like in apology languages, if...
A toxapology is something that...
A patent that. Patent that word. Patent
a toxapology looks very much like a real apology. It's just that the same thing that made you feel the way that they felt like they needed to apologize for, it ends up happening again. Just about the time you're over it and you're feeling better, and then they make you feel bad if you bring it up, but it's usually accompanied with the behavior that caused them to have to feel like they have to apologize again. So that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about genuine, heartfelt apologies. And some people have many different ones. Those are the 5 basics. I'm sure you could think of other ways. People sometimes like gifts. Sometimes people like to be taken somewhere. There's lots of different ways that you can apologize or show someone that I'm really
sorry.
I'm really sorry. And so these are just 5 different ways that we're talking about, but we also wanted to touch on what isn't really an apology. Because it's important to differentiate on when you're being manipulated versus when you're with somebody who genuinely is interested in growing with you and changing for the better with you.
I want to say something really blunt along with that, is that if you're listening to this and you have no idea what we're talking about between a fake apology and a genuine or real heartfelt apology, and you're like, what's the difference? Understand that not only are you the problem, but please talk to the therapist that you absolutely need and try to work out how to stop doing this to people.
So I think what Crow's coming to say, so to speak, well, no, actually, he said it pretty good. It was just flat out blunt.
Hey.
Yeah, keeping it real, right?
Real.
We're being really real.
For real, though.
But it's true. So for me, when it comes to seeking help, I was always because I was raised in a way that was a bit emotionless, and you relied on yourself to take care of everything on your own. When it comes to feelings and everything, you were pretty much on your own when it came to that. I never really learned how to deal with emotions, with apologies, with any of that stuff, or even how to apologize. So it's kind of very strange for me with the whole feeling thing. That's why we have the joke about my one feeling in a jar,
Right.
Which totally isn't true.
Right, because he's actually quite deep.
Oh, yes.
And he feels things very fully and very deeply. The only issue is that he's like deep water. There's not a whole lot of activity on the surface. It's all going on deep underneath there.
Yep.
Right. So, that kind of brings into therapy of I always was the one I'm going to fix it on my own. I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to figure all this out and everything else. I can do this. I know I can. I can do it by myself. I've done it my whole life by myself. Well, what I've done my whole life by myself was not technically deal with shit. And it was, how do you say, not healthy? Not healthy. Right. Right.
Yeah,
that pretty much sums it up, right?
That was it. Yeah.
Okay. So it is not a bad thing to seek help, and I realize that now. And I honestly, even my therapist said, she's like, you think you would have wanted to do this sooner? I'm like, yes, but look, I'm there, and that's the thing. So it helps. Whatever you need to do to mentally help yourself, to mentally advance yourself to where it makes you the better person. I'm always looking, and it's one of my habits is that I always look to improve everything I do. If I know it can be done better, I'm going to do it better. I'm at least going to try to do it better. So what I do is, I thought I could do it on my own, but I couldn't. But now I have more tools.
Yep. Another thing we really should probably talk about is when somebody does apologize, that doesn't mean the person you're apologizing to is going to be receptive right away, or you're going to have an immediate reaction to your apology. So you may apologize. The person you're apologizing to is going to have to take a bit to reset.
So what you're saying is, if I apologize to somebody, it's not an instant, your feelings are better now. You're not hurting anymore.
Right.
Whoa. So wait, you actually take time to heal?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this
Imagine
is a
that.
foreign concept to some people.
I know that.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah. So,
So every person, and you're going to discover this in your multiple relationships if you have them, that every person has their own processing time. If you've hurt them deeply and you did whether you did it intentionally or not, And if you're communicating, then
Take a sip.
then you should know that and know the severity of it. And I mean, even if it isn't, and it was some small minor thing, it might just take them a bit to get over.
That's right, because you don't heal instantly unless you do. If you do heal instantly, like say like Wolverine or something like that, let us know how it happens.
Yeah,
because we would really.
The target of the bad behavior
I want to
is
see it.
under no real obligation to snap to once you've given your apology. As heartfelt as it might be, as true as it might be, as this apology languages is just a tool to understand your partner and partners better and help your interactions with them. It is not a cheat code to get the results you want faster.
You mean like up,
That's
down,
kind
left,
of
right?
selfish.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no... if you're sitting there and going, well, she said accepting responsibility was her apology language, and I accepted full responsibility, how come she's not happy?
Yeah.
Well, I apologized like 5 minutes ago and you're not happy yet.
Right.
Yeah,
You're holding this in the past.
dare
Like,
you.
that's
Don't
in
be
the
mad.
past. Why are you holding that against me still? No.
Don't be mad. I'm not.
Right.
I'm totally fine now. I don't
Don't
get
be
what
mad. I'm okay. Like, no,
really,
that's
I
not
don't
how
understand.
this works,
I don't
guys.
understand why you're still mad. God, get over
Yeah.
it.
It's one of those things that when you've done wrong, there are consequences to it.
Yeah.
And you have to own that. You have to, well, I guess to me, I emphasize that because that hits high on my list. You have to own that.
Yeah.
Own that shit.
Yeah.
Be responsible for what you bring to the table.
But understand that just like with anything, when you accidentally kick your pet across the room because you're striding through the room and they walk in front of you and your legs swung forward, you'll notice they're a little shy around you for a while. And that's because I need to not step in front of them like that sort of thing. Even if you apologize to the cat, they're going to be shy because you just hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter the hows and the whys. They're still hurting.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole body still aches.
And they still remember that it came from you.
Mm-hmm. Just like that, your partner might just need to take some time. In fact, it's way more common for your partner to need some time to heal, to process, as Jay very aptly put it, to reset.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a free pass just because you hit the code.
Yep.
Just because you spoke their language doesn't mean you get, it's all fine and dandy again. No, relationships take time to heal.
It's a consequence to your actions, and that should fuel you into not doing those things again.
Right, and that's one thing that really hits home with Jay is the fact that you can apologize and you need to show that you're attempting to be better and not, do the same behavior over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have a thing after something happens and you've apologized and you've told me that this thing isn't going to happen again. Any little sign that it's happening again and I start freaking out. We're going back to where we were. Everything is failing. It's falling apart. And again, that's something that, I'm working on. Like I said, I go to therapy, guys. So, but we all have our things, right? But yeah, even if that person, and you have to learn to work together with those little, not little, those nuances, I guess, and those little tics and things that people have that you trigger in someone when you've done something. And you have to learn to work together and communicate and say, hey, you're doing this thing you used to do, and I want to believe that you're on the way to, we're working on this, but you did this, so now I feel like we're going backwards. Are we going backwards? And you have to be able to have those conversations.
That's one thing I find that is actually fairly true is a Pavlovian response. Basically, over the years, you have done this same behavior and it led up to these same results. So your partner will expect you, if your partner starts seeing your same actions that lead up to this one thing, you can expect them to react the same way leading up to that, even though your behavior has changed. But here's the thing. you may be changing your reactions. You may be changing the actions that leading up to whatever it is. Like, say you start getting worked up, and at the very end, you're like, okay, I see where I am now. I'm taking it a step down. I need to back off. I realize my behavior, and I need to back off. But at the same time, your partner may be like is ready for that blow up. Your partner is ready for that reaction that you typically have, and they become a certain type of way, expecting you to be there even though you're not there. They're going to be there because your behavior has happened for so long, and you have done